guys, Helen Hart Smith here again from the Heart of the Witch's Path YouTube channel. Hope you're having an amazing day. I'm pretty excited to be here again with all of you. Sorry about the extended break in things, but if you follow me on Instagram, I believe I posted there a bit ago that I was starting a new job, and so it's been an adjustment with this new job, but it's a very, very positive situation. I'm so incredibly happy with this new job, but it's more hours, it's a lot more responsibility, and more importantly, it's in a completely different industry than what I have ever worked in. And so the hours have been an adjustment. What I'm doing is really taxing on my mind, and so I'm doing a lot of creative thinking, and so that just the first few weeks I was completely wiped out and going to bed extremely early, but it's early hours, so I'm going to bed early and things like that. So I just needed to give myself a bit of an adjustment time to kind of acclimate myself to that, and I'm not sure if I'm there yet. So I will post videos as often as I can. Thanks for hanging in there with me, like I said, and here I am. So yes, it's been a while since I posted a video, but and so I was like, another kind of like hurdle that I was struggling with was I wasn't sure that I wasn't sure where my voice was. I wasn't sure that my videos were informative. I wasn't sure if they were being received. Like I think I doubted myself is kind of where my head kind of was. And so that was affecting the desire to make videos. And so this is me kind of tiptoeing back into the waters and seeing how things go. So I hope that you enjoy this video, and I'm trying to reserve some creative inspiration within me, and really calling upon Breed too, to help with my creativity. So bear with me, and hopefully I've got something good and something meaningful to say. So I thought what I would do with this video is I would share with you what I've kind of been spending time doing, aside from sleeping and working. So this year, well, not just this year, for the last few years, I've really made it a point, a goal for myself to read more. I have, if you've seen the tour of my sacred space, I have 3 5-shelf bookshelves in my sacred space, as well as this 3-shelf that is behind me. And I have an extensive collection of books that I've pared down, bought more, pared down, and such over the years. And I have a lot of Wicca New Age books that I have purchased and wasn't really reading them. You know, like flicking through them, referencing them, maybe reading some here and there as I was looking for information on certain subjects. And so I decided, you know, I really need to read these books, or why continue to buy them? And so I've really been making strides in that area. And so I thought I would talk about some of the books that I've been reading this year So, and I've got my tablet here. I'm going to reference my Goodreads account. If you're not on Goodreads, they're not sponsoring this video, although if they'd like to, I would gladly take that offer. But I found Goodreads a number of years ago, and I find it really valuable for keeping track of books that I want to read, what I have read. It allows you to organize them into shelves. So I have a New Age or a Wicca shelf, so that if I wanted to look for a Wicca book that I wanted to read, it's all they're all grouped together and such. So it's a really valuable tool. And for the last few years, they've been doing reading challenges. And so it's totally honor system, and you absolutely set your own challenge. And so my challenge for the year was to read 24 books. So that was like it was 30 books, because last year I did 24 books. So 30 books in the year, and I'm actually on like 40 something right now. So yeah, it's been a good reading time for me lately. And yeah, so I have done some book reviews on some of these books, so I'm not going to spend a great deal of time on them. And some of them I've actually read on audio and don't own a physical copy, and some of them I've read the digital copy. So I don't really have like everything here that I could do a full review like I normally do. So if you want more information on a book that I'm about to talk about, and want to ask me a question about it, feel free to do so in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer them. And trying to think. If there's anything else, we'll just talk about it as we go along. So I'll kind of keep things short and concise, because I don't want this to be a 40-minute video, and I don't think you guys do either. But I wanted to share some of the witchcraft books that I have read this year and give you like some thoughts about them. So the first book that I finished this year was The Gates of Witchcraft by Christopher Penczak, and that is a book that I did a full review on, so I will put a link in the description box to that video so you can check that out if you want more information. I really enjoyed it, and I guess that's all I'm going to say here. If you want to know anything more, check out that video. I'll also put links in the description box to purchase these books at Amazon. But of course, I always suggest that you shop local and visit your local New Age stores, metaphysical stores, and purchase from them. So that being said, we'll move on. The next book that I read, you just jumped, you bad boy. I read a book that I actually got for Yule from the Rumi, called Winter. And I thought that this book was going to be about ritual, because the subtitle is Rituals to Thrive in the Dark Cycle of the Seculum. And so I thought that perhaps it was rituals for getting through the dark half of the year. But that is not what this book is about. It's by Joe Graham. It's actually a much deeper subject matter, and I think I had intended to do a full book review on this, and haven't. So maybe that's one that I should go back and do, because I really, really enjoyed that book. It talks about how as a society we have cyclical transitions that we, through the years, that we cycle through. And there are seasons that kind of go along with the decades. And the concept isn't a new one. It's been around. It's not even a Wiccan one. But I had never heard of it before reading this book, and I thought that it was really interesting. And so the research that Joe shared, and where it came from and such was really good. So if you want a full review, then let me know. And that's definitely something that I can work on for this channel to make a video for. So it's a highly recommended. The next book that I read is Dark Moon Magic: Supernatural Spells, Charms, and Rituals for Health, Wealth, and Happiness by Caradwyn Greenleaf. This is a book that I listened to the audio, and I don't know if it was because it was audio, because I want to say that this is probably one of the first Wicca books that I have listened to on audio. I did not like this book at all. I felt like I went into it expecting to have a lot of moon information, and dark moon specifically, because that's what the title is. And I feel like all the book contained was like goth references and stuff that you could find anywhere in it. I didn't enjoy it whatsoever. I do not recommend it. Now, if somebody else has a different take on it, then I'm happy to hear you out. But it really kind of colored me to that author too. And I have a book, a physical book that I wanted to read by this author. And I'm like, man, is it going to be bad as well? So if y'all like Caradwyn Greenleaf, then let me know, because I really don't even want to read this this other book that I bought. So yeah, give me some thoughts here. And I'm just going to move right on to the next book. The next book is actually on my love list, and I have done a review. The book is The Witch's Book of Self-Care: Magical Ways to Pamper, Soothe, and Care for Your Body and Spirit by Erin Murphy-Hiscock. I have talked about this book numerous times, and because of my love of this book, this is actually a second reading that I did with the coven. We read it as a coven, and I think we all enjoyed it a great deal. And yes, really good book. Check out the review. Multiple thumbs up on that. Absolutely. Next on the list is Taking Up the Runes, a complete guide to using runes in spells, rituals, divination, and magic. And that is by Diana Paxson. That is a book that has kind of been lingering on my reading list for a while. I had started it a while ago, and then I took a long time to finish it, but finally did, and it was definitely worth the going through. Diana Paxson has been working with runes for a very, very, very long time. And I like this book a lot because she references multiple authors like Thorson, and others that talk about the runes. She kind of puts all of that information into one spot and has meditations and rituals that go with the runes. So I don't remember if I did a full review on that book. I'll have to look, but if that's something that you're interested in, I'd love to talk about it some more. It was a very good read, even though it took me way longer than it should have. Next on the list is Soul Retrieval Journey: Seeing in the Dark by Sandra Ingerman. Sandra Ingerman is a shamanic practitioner, and I have one of her books that comes with a CD that I've been meaning to read and just haven't. And this is another book that I listened to on audio, and I really enjoyed it. So this is a lot about retrieving shards and things like that, and how to go, soul shards, how to go about doing that. And I think like I liked her style. And so I'm definitely going to make an effort to prioritize, although I'm prioritizing so many books. I do want to read the one that I have and quite possibly look into more by her. So yeah, definitely enjoyed that, Sandra Ingerman. Next, Celtic Mythology and the Religion of the Ancient Celts, by Jess Harasta. Another audio book listen, and it wasn't memorable because I don't remember anything about it. And I'm starting at the beginning of the year and kind of going through things. It was rather short. I think there was some good information, but nothing that massively lingered. So it was an okay listen. I might go back because it was really short. Like, I want to say it was about 3 hours or something like that. So it was okay. Skidding right along then. Herbal Alchemist's Handbook, a grimoire of philtres, elixirs, oils, incense, and formulas for ritual use, by Karen Harrison. Another audio. My previous job, I had a commute, and so that allowed me to do a lot of audio listening. So that's why there's so many audios. And I can go through audios pretty quickly. I really liked this book. It was a bit of a reference book because she does talk quite a bit about individual plants. So, it's kind of like the Cunningham herb book where it's, everything. And generally, I kind of flip through that if I'm reading a book, and only come back if I'm looking for something because it's a reference section. But I found myself learning quite a bit from the audio, and it's a book that I intend to pick up and have a physical copy of. So if you're interested in knowing more about that book, I can look at doing a review once I purchase the book. I haven't done so yet, because there's just so many books that I want to get through some before I buy more. But like, that stops me even, but whatever. Very good book. I recommend that one a great deal. The next one is a bit, I don't even know, I can't even describe it. It's Spirit Song, The Introduction of No Eyes, by Mary Summer Rain. Now, this is an older book, I believe. I should look up and see like when it was published, because this was another audio book. But this is, and I believe that this is not a work of fiction. If someone can confirm that, because I'm kind of classifying it as a Wicca book. It's technically more like a shamanic situation. It details the author's experience of meeting this old woman who was blind and lived by herself out in the wilderness, who went by the name No Eyes. And this woman went to her and learned some healing pathways and was able to basically work on herself and heal herself and gain some shamanic knowledge. And I thought the story was really interesting. And there's one or two other books. I don't know if I would necessarily seek those out for reading, but it was interesting. I'll put it that way. Has anybody read these books by Mary Summer Rain? And can you confirm for me whether they're it's like that it's not fiction? It doesn't read like fiction, so I don't think it's fiction. Help me out here. I did some looking up, like some Wikipedia looking, and things like that while I was listening to it, because I was like, this is like such an interesting, kind of crazy, borderline story. And there wasn't a whole, I mean, it claims that it was, not fiction and what have you, but yeah, it's really interesting. So if anyone has more information on that, I'd gladly look at it or what have you. My tablet keeps like fudging around with where I'm at, so I gotta keep scrolling. Next on the list is Odin, Ecstasy, Runes, Norse Magic. This is another Diana Paxson book, and I was so excited to read this book and so let down by it. I did a complete review of this book, so I will link that in the description box, and I'm not going to say anything more about it. If you want to know more about it, check out that video. Moving along. The next book that I read, this book like totally made up for what Odin lacked, and it's like right here within grabbing distance, so I'm gonna grab it. Tending Briad's Flame by Lunia Weatherstone, Awaken to the Celtic Goddess of Hearth, Temple, and Forge. This is everything that I had hoped the Odin book would be and was not. I looked at my recent videos on the channel before sitting down to record this one, and I don't believe I did a review for that book, but I think I would like to. So if you're interested in that, I have lots of good things to say about it. So let me know, and maybe even if you don't let me know, then perhaps I'll just film a video anyhow. Yes, but I very much like that one. Next is American Witches, a broomstick tour through 4 centuries by Susan Fair. This was interesting, not necessarily like a Wicca based, but more of a witchcraft historical book. I thought it was an incredible, interesting listen. This was an audiobook. And so it talks about, she definitely covers Salem, but it's all about from an American perspective as far as history of witchcraft in America. I thought it was really, it was a bit dry-ish as historical things can be, but I think the author did a really fair job of trying to like put in some little punches of humor in the story that I appreciated. I found it a little weird at first, but I appreciated it as time went on. So yes. Next is Feast of the Morrigan by Christopher Penczak. I don't remember if I did a review for this or not. I know I did Gates of Witchcraft. Feast of the Morrigan was really good. Morrigan has, she has made a presence lately in my life, and that's all I'm going to say at the moment. But this book was really good. Christopher works with an aspect of the Morrigan, and so he absolutely delivers in a great book that is about the Morrigan. And if you would like a more thorough review, let me know and we can make that happen. Next on the list is Earth Magic. Let me see, where are we at time-wise? I don't want to go, we're at 24 minutes. I'm going to try to speed this up a little bit. Earth Magic, Sacred Rituals for Connecting to Nature's Power by Starhawk. This was another audio that I enjoyed so much that I actually went out and found the audio. I'm still not sure if there's a physical book that goes with this. I'm still looking at it, but it was so good. I highly recommend it. Traditional Wicca, A Seeker's Guide by Thorn Mooney. I would really like to do a video on this book. This is a book that Kathy and I were trying to read together, but I ended up finishing it first. Thorn Mooney is a Gardnerian witch, high priestess. She has a YouTube channel that I highly recommend, and also has a new book that's coming out in a matter of days. I really like her videos. I really like her writing style. She's an academic, and that very much comes through with wonderful poise and loveliness. And she talks about what it means to be a traditional witch. And I went into it knowing that that I might not get a lot out of it because I'm not a traditional witch. I'm an eclectic witch. But there are definitely some shards of knowledge here that I'm taking with me into my practice and how I move forward. So that was really good. I highly recommend it. Who next on the list? Witches of America by Alex Marr. Now, if you haven't heard about this book, it was already on my radar to read because I had seen it in bookstores and things like that. But Thorn Mooney actually talks about this book in traditional Wicca. And so I was like, wait a minute, I think I've got that on audio. So this was another audiobook. I think I have this on audio. This caused a lot of controversy with certain circles in the New Age movement, specifically with some Gardnerians and specifically with some fairy tradition. Alex Marr is a documentarian and author that some believe she infiltrated certain circles to gain knowledge and then put that knowledge in this book. And so I am listening to the book and I'm feeling, there was like a couple of points where I was like, I don't know that I should be listening. Like, I feel a little dirty listening to this because I am not a Gardnerian. I am not a fairy traditional member. I am not an OTO member. And she was talking about some deep core practices that are supposed to be secret. And yeah, very interesting read. Very, very interesting read. Next on the list is Sacred Smoke, Clear Away Negative Energies and Purify Body, Mind, and Spirit by Amy Blackthorne. I thought this was an interesting book. This was another audio. See, I can go through audios much quicker than I can read. I have Amy Blackthorne's book on plant magic that I really want to read. She's knowledgeable when it comes to plants. I think that she's a little absolute sometimes in things you can't do or shouldn't do or do that I think can be up for interpretation, as I was taught. By and large, it was a short book that probably could have been shorter had she stuck with the actual title of the book, which was Sacred Smoke. I wanted to learn more about sage bundles and burning things for clearing and such. But she really kind of got into stones and other things that have nothing, they work in correspondence with, but they aren't solely about burning plant matter. So it was an okay read. Protection and Reversal Magic, A Witch's Defense Manual, Beyond 101 by Jason G. Miller. Another audio. Very interesting. I liked his writing style, And I don't know anything about this author. So if anyone out there has read Jason G. Miller and would like to suggest some other titles, because I think he's got a number of titles out there, I would be interested in any thoughts or recommendations. So yeah, throwing that out there. I think this might be yeah, this is the last one. So, and it's a doozy. To Stir a Magic Cauldron by Silver Ravenwolf. Now, y'all know that I am not a new witch. I'm a bit of an old witch. I've been in the game for 20 plus years, and I have a confession to make. And that is that I really neglected Silver Ravenwolf. To Stir a Magic Cauldron was a fantastic book. I think that when I was a baby witch, so for those of you who don't know Silver Ravenwolf, she was like probably one of the first New Age authors that got published. I mean, besides like Gardner and Doreen Valiente and things like that. I think her books came out maybe in the 80s or 90s. And that was a time, you know, those books, by the time I came to Wicca, those were kind of old handbooks, and I wanted to look at the more progressive stuff. I wanted to look at the new authors, and Christopher Penczak was new at the time, and so I kind of fell into his work, and it really spoke with me, and I just never connected with Silver Ravenwolf. And now I'm regretting that I never did at the time, because To Stir a Magic Cauldron is fantastic. There's great information in there. There's beautiful prayers in there. There's amazing homework. There's things that got me thinking, even though, like I said, I've been practicing for over 20 years. And so now I'm kind of interested to look at some of those other titles by her. And so that's probably something that will happen eventually. So we'll see what happens with that. But again, if you would like a more thorough review, I can make that happen. Just let me know. And that's it. So, and I'm reading a Raven Caldera book right now, and I've got a stack of books that are kind of like my immediate read stack. So if you're interested in that stack, let me know, and I would be glad to share. And yeah, I think that's going to be it for this video. It's running a little long. Let's kind of nip it off. Thank you guys for watching, and again, thank you for kind of hanging in there while I'm AWOL, and so on and so forth. I would love to know your thoughts. If you've read any of these books, do that in the comments section below. Look for links in the description box for videos of book reviews, to purchase these books, and of course, social media like my Instagram, Kathy's Instagram, the Facebook page, things like that. Please, if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, there's a subscribe button, and it's somewhere. Hit it. And that's going to be it for now. Thanks for watching, and thanks for taking the time to walk the path for a little while with me. Until next time, blessed be.